guys. Welcome to this week's episode of The Lead-In, which will be episode 2. And today we're going to cover about 4 games, including the midweek special between Liverpool and Tottenham. But firstly, we want to look at the struggling teams, the struggling sides in the Premier League at the moment. And I'm joined by Tinashe, Nakai, and Tariro this evening. So we're going to look at Arsenal versus Burnley. And I just want to hear everyone's predictions and their thoughts based on the two sides. Both sides are struggling. 1 win in the last 5. Arsenal have lost 3 in the last 5. Burnley have 2 losses and 2 draws on top of that 1 win. So I just want to hear what everyone says. And I think I will start with Nakai.
Right, okay. So I think looking at the game, right, from surface level, you would think, oh yeah, Arsenal's got this in the bag, Arsenal can win, Arsenal this and that, right? But personally, guys, if we look at Burnley, right, first of all, they drew against Everton. This is Everton we're talking about, which is, we can consider them a big team. This is Everton. And also, if you look at the players from Burnley, they're strong, they're tall, they're strong, and just muscle mass compared to some of those Arsenal players. If you look at Hector Bellerin, honestly, do you think Hector Bellerin, with his stature and his, muscle mass, like he's not strong enough to be able to defend against some of those Burnley players? Because that's Burnley's advantage. They're tall and strong. So personally, I feel like Arsenal is going to be in for a very tough game. Physically, definitely 100%. So I think I'm gonna say my prediction is a draw. That is my prediction. Arsenal will actually be lucky to get away with a draw, in my opinion.
But don't you think that with don't you think these are the type of games that Arteta wants with what he's trying to implement, when certain teams drop back and they let them have the ball and they can play? What do you think about that?
Definitely. I think when Arteta saw the match, he's probably like, okay, guys, like this is the game we need to take 3 points from. But judging from how other games have gone and how Burnley's games have gone as well, I don't think it's going to be a walkover like he would have thought before. Definitely, I don't think. And also, I think tactically, Arteta's lost. Judging off of how he was playing the team against Tottenham. I think, even like Jamie Carragher, yeah, exactly. He was saying it was as if Arteta landed here from the moon and he had never played football before. He didn't even know what was going on, because it's like tactically he was all over the place. So now going against this team, this Burnley team, right? Initially one would think, Arsenal's winning, but judging from the Arsenal's previous games and Burnley's previous games, I think it's gonna be. I still think it's not gonna be a walkover, and it'll be a draw. That's my prediction.
Okay, I think we can go on to Arteta's number 1 fan, Tinashe.
But look at Tariro, guys. He's writing facts down so that he, at the end, is going to be able to defend Arsenal and defend the club, rebut every point.
Arsenal fans.
But, in all seriousness, guys, I think this is going to be the first Arsenal versus Burnley match ever in the history of football whereby I actually think that Burnley is going to create more chances. And you know how defensive Burnley is, and you know how can I put it? How much they lack creativity in that Burnley side. But I'll give Burnley the win just because I think at the end of the match they're gonna have a goal, like maybe 8 shots versus Arsenal's 2. So it's just gonna be at the end of the day. 8 shots, maybe 6 on target, you get 2 goals. Then Arsenal, unfortunately, they just can't score when the game is in open place. Yeah, I'm giving Burnley the win, yeah. I don't see how Arsenal can win this match. And I just have to say, I think Arteta, come on. If they lose this one, if the board doesn't have the balls to sack him, he should just walk away as a man. Take some dignity, the dignity that's left of you. Just resign from this job and let the team move on with better coaching.
Yeah, okay. And we can leave time to the Arsenal man himself.
Yes, to start with, I'm going to expose myself because I am an Arsenal fan and with the inherent bias. However, I just have to look at the manner in which we have been playing in the last 2 games. Number one, we have been poor. Secondly, we have been destroying. Thirdly, we take play. This is not the Arsenal. This is not the Arsenal. It's now some schools that we are not used to. So, having said that, I think I'm afraid that we might lose this game if we continue playing like we have been playing before. But with the stakes that are in this game, I think that Arteta is very much aware of what awaits him if we are to lose this game. So I expect him to put everything that he has, to throw everything that he has against this Burnley side. So I predict a 2-0 win for us, of course, because as we speak, there's so much pressure on the guys, there's so much pressure on the coach. I hold the view that he's going to put something up his sleeve, something up his sleeve to win this game. However, whether we win, draw or lose, Arteta just has to go. It's like what it's high time. His future does not depend on him. He has shown that for now at least, he's not up there tactically. He's not up there. He doesn't have the mental character needed to drive a team like Arsenal. And I was one of the people who made noise when he was appointed. Because I say this is a big side. Someone has got some sort of experience. They were saying he was an assistant coach and whatnot. But you need someone who has got some experience, who is proven, who has a track record, who can take over this side and make wonders. I think that Arteta is not up to script. I think that Arteta does not have what it takes for now to lead this big side.
But don't you think? Okay, go on.
Sorry, quickly. It's just a small thing.
Yeah,
just to add, I think the key word mentioned there is disjointed, right?
Yes.
Because let's not lie, right? Arsenal individually, they do have good players, if we're going to be honest. Aubameyang, Lacazette, etc. They are good players, but if there's no connection between them, the team can't do well. The team can't perform in games. They're all disjointed. It's like they're all playing in 5 different matches. Like they're not all on the pitch together. They're not all playing the same game. There's no connection between them. So I think they also need a manager that, I don't know how, but to reignite that connection between those players, especially up front. I think that's the only way that Arsenal will go back to, the potential or to go back to how they were before.
We have that state of affairs because we lack creativity. The coach, in his wisdom, or more appropriately, he has exiled Mesakos, who has been the
Exactly.
in terms of creativity. Really everything that we are lacking in that department. So the coach must just understand that it is high time to bring back Ozil. He must swallow his pride, take on Ozil and register in the next January transfer so that we can have a bit of creativity. And I hold the view that I don't think Arteta is going to test away before the end of the season. I think he must be allowed to finish this season. However, there is an inherent danger there that we might be relegated.
But guys, I've said this before, that I actually believe that if Arteta, just might be a chance that Arsenal might actually go down.
Do you think that's too harsh though?
But that's as bad as they are at the moment.
So do you think Ozil comes? Do you think Ozil comes into the side and sort of ties things up?
Nah.
He might not be able. He might not be able to do it by himself, but we all know what he's going to do. His capability, his capacity, and what his ability is as a player. However, he has also his own downside. For example, he's lazy, and it makes whenever he's in, someone is going to put extra weight because the man is well for not having that stamina. However, where we are lacking as a team is the creativity side. So if we can arrange ourselves in such a way that also can come in and play the usual number 10, give one or two passes, create this, or even if it's coming from the bench, at least right now we are to be making enough shots. The statistics that Nash has alluded to are shocking. This is not the usual Arsenal that we know. We have always been losing, not because we are not good, but because the defense was the weakest link.
That's terrible.
But as of now, I think we lack a midfield, we lack creativity, we let Ramsey go, Wilshere win. And as of now, we are left with only the likes of Thomas Partey, the likes of maybe who are defensively. So we need someone who can play that traditional either number 8 or number 10, giving the strikers some ball, 1 or 2. And I think that if we can do that, we can be a better side for the rest of the team.
Okay, so it seems as if everyone wants Ozil's return, and hopefully he can rescue Arsenal in some way. Even though I don't think he'll be able to, I think he just doesn't have that that drive. I think he's very talented, but I think you need that Bruno Fernandes in you, if I can say, to actually, almost revive a team, like what Bruno Fernandes has been doing for the past year, every game for Manchester United. But we won't go there yet.
I would like to say this. I would like to say that Mesut Ozil, of course, I don't think is the answer. He won't be able to carry Arsenal back to the top 4 where they had been for 20 plus years. But the fact that he earns 350k not to play football, that's something. That's the wrong thing with the Arsenal Football Club. Everyone who is leading that institution has to be questioned. How can you let someone who's getting 350k just not play at all?
True.
Yeah,
that's true.
Let's get rid of him.
There is something that is quite shocking. You must remember very well that Arteta and Ozil were teammates before, and Ozil was playing when Arteta wasn't playing, when he was injured, when he was out there. So how then can teammates have so much life in a short space of time? What needed is to find the reason between this agreement between Ozil and the coach. Why we resolve that Ozil must be brought back in. That we are not saying that Ozil single-handed carry ourselves in the top 4, but we are saying let's bring him in, see what he can do. He has done something. The statistics are all for all to see. Let's give him the chance to come in. The truth of the matter is we are lacking creativity. And if we are lacking creativity, it is well known globally that Ozil is what that push for creativity.
Okay. Interesting. So everyone seems to be. Tinashe, you're favoring a draw. Nakai is favoring a draw. I'm favoring a draw. And the Arsenal man said 2-0.
No. I said Burnley win.
You said Burnley win?
I said Burnley win.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Okay. So next we move on to Everton versus. I think next we can move on to Everton and Chelsea. Okay. Next we can move on to Everton versus Chelsea, and Chelsea are in somewhat good form of late. They seem to have found the balance that everybody was looking for at Chelsea, and including the Chelsea fans. And Everton seem to be on some.
Okay, yeah.
I think we can still discuss though. I think you said Everton and and Chelsea. Sorry.
Yeah, but that's an easy one though. Okay, Naka, you go first.
I was just okay. I think if we were playing against the Everton at the beginning of the season, I'd be worried. When Calvert-Lewin was at his prime, he was scoring goals every game. Like he was, like really strengthening that Everton side. Although that was in the beginning, now they've sort of lost the spark, maybe lost the energy, the momentum, I think, because they started off strong and then they've just been slowly declining. And I think the only real threat up front at Everton is Calvert-Lewin. And I think Chelsea's defense will definitely be able to handle him. So yeah, I think we're looking at a Chelsea win. Not just coming from a Chelsea supporter, but genuinely a Chelsea win.
Yeah, of course. I sort of agree with you, but I just have to go to Terry. How good have been Chelsea? I know you don't like it, but how good are Chelsea? Do you think Everton stand any chance to make Chelsea drop points, considering the form?
Well, football is the art of the possible. Everton can win, can draw, if they can lose this game. However, I think I must make a few points on Everton. The Everton side started very, very well. They had a lot of firepower up front, they had a lot of flair, sophisticated coming in with the likes of Yames Rodriguez, but of late they've lost steam, of late they've fizzled out. So I accept a drubbing, a big one from Chelsea. I think that Chelsea was what it takes. They've got a strong squad. Squad depth. Those youngsters like Warner from Germany and Tammy Abraham and all these young players like Pulisic and others. And I hold the view that their midfield is quite strong with the likes of Kante and all these other midfielders they have, and the defense as well is quite solid. So going into this match, I don't see any opportunity for Everton scratching a win. However, we are just making predictions. Maybe the one or two things, considering that Carlo Ancelotti is a coach, is very much more experienced, very much more traveled, very much more updated tactically, better than Frank Lampard. So from the tactical point of view, yes, Everton can scratch something. That is if Carlo Ancelotti can come back to his old days. However, I think that with the quality that Chelsea has, what new factors constantly should come from this game. So I predict somewhat rather grudging the Chelsea win.
Yeah, Nigel, I've got a silly question for Tariro. I just wanted to ask, how does it feel when Arsenal suck so bad and Olivier Giroud is doing well with Chelsea? And they didn't want him at Arsenal.
Well, the guy did not fit. Giroud did not fit our style of play. That's the honest truth. We didn't say Giroud was not good, but he was not good for the Arsenal style of play. Maybe if he was there now, he would be scoring because we are playing this boom boom type of soccer. It is
boom boom.
This guy is crazy.
One way or the other. However, obviously, as former employers, we are quite very much saddened by the mere fact that Giroud left us not doing very well. But when we talk of him doing very well, just scoring 4 goals is that doing very well, or is just coming in every now and again causing problems? Because his future in that Chelsea side, in my view, is quite bleak. Because you've got Tim Warner and Tammy Abraham take over the reins. So, he's on a few moments of glory.
You were just supposed to say something good about Giroud.
He brings up an important point though, where he says, I don't think Chelsea can hold on to all of those guys. Giroud, Werner, Abraham. I think someone's gonna have to leave. It'll be interesting to see who's gonna have to leave.
I think it's
Werner he wants to go down the middle. Pulisic is back. Pulisic, we all know, has to play. He has to play. So it'll be. I think it's going to be interesting. You wanted to say?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I think, of course, at the end of the day, I think Giroud is the one who's going to have to leave, age considering, because he's a lot older. Maybe he's going to get a move to maybe one of those Italian clubs where he can play until he's 38 or something like that, or maybe go to the MLS for, a huge payday. But and I also agree with you. Christian Pulisic has to play because he's the face. He's the face of the franchise.
He's the brand.
Here we go again. Not this again.
The American want the kid is what to change the complexion of the game. Therefore, if Lampard is any coach, is a coach worth his soul, that one the kid from the United States must play. Because I think that kid, for his time at Dortmund, he's always shown that is something special in him. And Chelsea got a very good thing to scout with this young man. So I think that the Pulisic is in, and he will be running the team.
The man that runs the show.
Definitely.
You make Tinashe very happy when you say.
I also agree with Tinashe. I think Giroud is going to be the one to leave Chelsea, and I feel like it's going to be unfortunate because we've seen what Giroud brings to the team, and the goals he can score for the team, even coming on as a sub, how he changes the game, he changes the dynamic of the game. He's connecting with the ball in front of goal, scoring goals that Tammy Abraham fails to score sometimes. Tammy misses the ball, I think maybe 3 or 4 times per game. I don't know if that's an official statistic, but it's what I see. And it's so frustrating because, yes, Giroud, has the age and he knows how to play the game. Tammy is still quite young, early 20s, like 21, 22. So he still has a lot of learning to do, improving his technique. I think he needs to learn from Giroud as well, because some of those headers that Tammy misses, Giroud connects with easily, and he scores the goal. So I feel like if or when Giroud leaves Chelsea, I think we're gonna feel it. It is gonna be a loss that we are going to feel, definitely.
That's true. That's very true. And I just think Tammy, but I think Tammy he's still a bit young. I think maybe you'll have to see him in the next year or two, because I think some of these instincts and these, the positioning side of things, where to be, in such moments, it just comes with the more you play, the more you play these kind of games, you end up just knowing where to be, what to do in certain moments. So it'll be interesting to see Tammy in the next two years or so. Yeah.
Very true.
So I think everyone here is going for a Chelsea drumming of Everton.
I don't know if Taro agrees. Taro just hates Chelsea, so maybe you may think otherwise.
No, I am objective. That's the thing. I don't like Chelsea, and I'm going to be objective. But speaking of one Tammy Abraham, I think that is one of the is shown that he has got the capacity to be great, but he hasn't been able to strike that level of consistency that we would like him to be. But I think that going forward, he is one of the good strikers who are going to come up in the EPL. This position is good as well, but there is room for improvement. Yes, he might learn 1 or 2 things from Giroud, but apart from headers, what else can he do?
This is Giroud agenda. I'm telling you.
What should learn from them in terms of positioning in other things, other than the area where
Okay, so we've seen an Everton decline, especially in the last 5 or so games, where they've only managed to win 1 game, which is very different from the team we saw in the first 5 games or so. It's actually very sad, very, very sad. Okay, So I think Chelsea could.
Thank you for watching TK Sports. For more awesome content from this channel, please subscribe. And also engage with us on our social media platforms down in the description below.